right off the bat, I know that this is, unfortunately, a reproduction.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the times when customers of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop did not walk away happy.
What you've seen and what you can prove is two different stories.
Number 10, Atlanta Braves 1995 World Series ring.
They're like the Buffalo Bills of the 90s, man. They just couldn't pull it off.
When this customer brings in what looks like a Major League Baseball championship ring, Corey is immediately interested. He's even more excited when he realizes that the ring might have belonged to team owner Ted Turner.
Was Turner the staff member?
He was the owner.
Yeah, Ted Turner.
He knows there will be a market for the item among collectors, if he can verify its authenticity. However, the customer gets annoyed when Corey suggests calling in a sports memorabilia expert.
Unfortunately, this isn't even a staff ring. This is what they call a salesman sample. They're provided to the team beforehand so they can get a look at the ring, see if they like it, approve it, and they make them from there.
He eventually agrees to let Jeremy examine the ring, but he's not happy with what he hears. The ring never actually belonged to Turner or anyone else in the organization, and it isn't nearly as valuable as the customer thought it was. He ultimately decides to leave without selling.
They bring some bozo off the street. I don't know where he came from. All of a sudden, he comes through the door and he's Mr. Expert on baseball, so I don't know. I was really disappointed.
Number 9, pirate ship parade float.
Plus, you had a boat.
It is a boat.
Does it float?
No, it is a float.
Trusting Chumley to meet with a seller alone is always a risk. But this time, he actually follows Rick's instructions, and the seller is none too happy when he does. This street-legal pirate ship is the kind of oddball item that Chum gets excited for. After he and the seller take it for a joyride, Chum can't wait to add it to the shop's inventory.
I'm on a boat! Sup, ladies? I feel like captain of a ship right now.
But the price tag makes him pause. When he gets a text from Rick telling him unequivocally not to buy the ship, he's disappointed and apologizes.
I'm sorry, man. I had a good time, though. It was fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, but I'm driving you all over this place.
That doesn't stop the seller from getting rude. This time, Rick was the only one who got what he wanted.
Well, that's bull. Whatever.
Oh, sorry, man.
Number 8, photo of Abraham and Mary Todd Lincoln.
Thought Abe only took photos by himself.
What are you talking about?
Oh, he's right about that.
Even we can tell that the guy in that photo is not the 16th president of the United States. But this seller is convinced that he has a one-of-a-kind portrait of Lincoln and Mary Todd that's practically priceless.
I feel it's one in a million, so I'm asking $1 million.
When expert Maureen disagrees, he gets pretty nasty with her. We get that he's disappointed that the photo isn't valuable, but this is crossing a line.
It's not a problem. It's your career. You have a right to discredit yourself.
Did the fact that the expert was a woman have something to do with this behavior? It's a little weird that he was so rude to her, but so polite to Rick and Chum, but we'll let you be the judge.
Someone's making a mistake.
So your opinion is it's not real?
It's not.
Number 7, Hudson Bay gorget.
What the hell's a 4J?
This kid needs to learn some respect for his elders. He comes in with a metal neck piece that he believes dates back to the 18th century. Based on what his father paid for it, he's sure it's extremely valuable.
Do you know what he paid for it?
A second mortgage on his house.
Unfortunately, Rick has to burst his bubble. The piece is actually from the 19th century, and Rick is only willing to pay a tiny fraction of what he's asking for it.
I think it's worth a lot less.
How much less?
Like 99,000 less. I can tell you right now it's not 1700s.
When the seller starts mouthing off, the old man steps in and puts him in his place. If you don't want people to think you're just some punk kid, don't act like one.
All right, what the are you talking about?
Son, you're way out of line.
Number 6, Roman coin.
This coin is really interesting.
Yeah, this is cool. Yes, I think I was actually Caesar in a different lifetime.
We can understand why this customer would assume this coin is worth a lot of money. It's over 2,000 years old, and it's just cool. Coin collecting, aka numismatics, is a popular hobby, and Rick knows he can find a buyer if he can get it for the right price.
It's a 2,000-year-old coin with Caesar's face on it, and I want it.
The seller starts out extremely polite. When the expert confirms that it's a real coin from the Roman Empire bearing Caesar's portrait, you can see the excitement in his eyes.
All right.
However, because of its condition, the coin isn't worth as much as he'd thought, and he immediately gets snarky.
That's not a legitimate offer. You're just using your position here, trying to buy something for below its market value.
It's just bizarre when customers expect the staff to pay more for an item than the expert's appraisal.
I guess we're not going to make a deal, man.
You're lost, my friend.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
Number 5. Simi Mosley's guitar.
Not just any guitar. This is Semi Mosley's personal Blue Gospel guitar prototype.
This seller got this extremely cool guitar from the maker himself. Simi Mosley was a gospel singer who designed and built his own guitars in the 1950s, and went on to found the Mosrite Guitar Company with his brother. This prototype would be a unique piece for any collector or music lover. But $100,000 is a steep asking price, so of course Rick is going to consult an expert.
You should know, since I've had this guitar since 1969 continuously and got it from the guy who made it, I am considered the industry expert on this guitar.
When Jesse quotes a number that's only a quarter of what the seller's asking, unsurprisingly, he's not pleased.
That's absolutely ridiculous because it's been appraised over the years. Back in the 90s, it was appraised at a minimum of $100,000, and that was in the 90s.
The two get into an argument, and Jesse gets just as heated as the seller. We're not surprised that Rick wasn't able to make a deal on this one.
I can't agree with your assessment.
Oh, yeah. And we're just at where we are. I mean,
thanks, Jesse.
Number 4, rotating barrel rifles.
You can see that the barrels rotate like that. So you can load 2 shots at once, bang, and then rotate it, take your second shot.
Sellers with antiques are never happy when they find out their items aren't as old as they thought. This customer has a unique pair of rifles that he believes to be around 150 years old, and Rick thinks they might be even older.
By 1870, the percussion cap was going the way of the dinosaur. I would assume they'd be like 1850, somewhere around there.
Craig, the expert, comes in and recognizes the seller from a previous encounter. Once again, he has some bad news. The rifles are actually a mix of old and new parts, and were probably built less than a century ago.
Guns like this have been around since the 1830s, but these are not those guns.
The seller has some choice words for Craig when he hears the appraisal.
So that would be your crybaby, whiny-assed opinion?
We're pretty sure he's joking, but if we were Craig, we wouldn't want to cross this guy again. Number 3, 1958 Glastron Seaflight.
Normally I don't buy boats, they're money pits. But this thing is cool.
Rick loves the vintage look of this 50-year-old boat, which was designed to look like a classic Chevy. But he's hesitant to make an offer, and for good reason. Boats are difficult to move out of inventory, and this one needs some work to get it looking ship-shape.
It's like lipstick on a pig. I mean, we have a terrible paint job, okay? It doesn't have the original motor.
Okay.
Ultimately, Rick decides not to even bother haggling with the seller over the price. He simply turns down the sale. The seller is visibly irritated. He mostly keeps his cool with Rick and Chum, but as soon as they walk away, he lets loose with his true feelings.
He was basically insulting me with the paint thing, the petty stuff, you know? That's a good-looking boat. This guy doesn't.
Number 2, Porsche 911 Carrera engine.
Looks like a bunch of junk in the trunk.
This guy should have known better than to insult Danny Coker. The Count is a close friend of Rick and one of the shop's most trusted experts. This Porsche engine has been sitting outdoors for 2 years. Danny points out that there's no way to know what kind of internal damage it has without taking it apart.
What's going on the surface is going to be going on to an extent inside, and that's the unknown.
This seller doesn't like what he has to say, and he accuses Danny of not being a good mechanic.
If you bring a good mechanic, he will tell you what to do.
He's incredibly rude right to Danny's face, but the Count keeps his cool. We're honestly surprised Rick didn't walk away right then and there.
Danny's my man. I mean, this guy can fix anything.
Absolutely. He did bring a good one.
Not anything.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, fake Picasso statue.
This is a statue called Pegasus, and this is Perseus.
When you've been in the business as long as Rick has, you learn a thing or two about art. Most importantly, you learn how to tell a reproduction from the real thing. This customer has a beautiful statue supposedly created by French sculptor Émile Louis Picot. if it's real, it's worth a lot of money.
If this is a genuine Bacall, we're talking thousands of dollars. His sculptures are highly collectible, but in the art world, there's just millions of fakes.
But that's a big if. When Rick notices that the piece has Made in America stamped on it, that's a sure sign that it's a copy.
You see this?
Yeah.
It says Made in USA below it.
But the seller won't listen to reason. He gets so belligerent that security guard Antoine starts to step in.
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you tell me, but I know you're full of
You know, it's all right, Antoine. I got it.
Let this be a lesson for everyone. Don't buy expensive art without getting an expert's opinion first.
I'm glad he didn't want to buy. This is his loss, not mine.
If you were Rick, which seller would you have thrown out of your shop? Let us know in the comments.
I can't believe one of them guys offered me $1,000 for them 50 pieces of Pez. That's an insult to the Pez community.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.